The reach of the Battenkill watershed extends far beyond just the river itself. It draws from numerous tributaries before forming up and evolving into the resource for fish, fowl, and people who like to float, or fish, or simply look at it. Trout Unlimited, a national nonprofit organization dedicated to conserving, protecting, and restoring North America's cold water fisheries and their watersheds, has teamed up with the Bennington County Conservation District and the Battenkill Watershed Alliance to improve the quality of the riverbanks and therefore the streams and waterways themselves along the Battenkill system. Sometimes called streamside or riparian management, the effort includes planting trees in a field in Rupert recently with the help of community volunteers, as well as outreach to property owners whose property borders on or includes part of the watershed to identify, restore, and protect more riparian and in-stream habitat through the project. Jacob Fetterman of Trout Unlimited explained further.
What we're promoting is good stewardship of the streamside or riparian buffer zone of streams, which is really just the adjacent land next to a stream. And when we're thinking of good management for that area, it's essentially to let it do what it naturally would. So behind me you can see a forest along the stream. And so in a natural environment, it serves a very particular purpose, and that is to shade the stream, filter runoff, and then also under higher flows, it reduces the velocity of the stream. And so those are all functions as trees are alive and standing. And then you also think about when they die, they ultimately will fall down into the stream. And at that point, it is super beneficial to the in-stream environment. So the fish that live there, the insects that live there, they all use that as habitat. And it also then further contributes to the capacity of a stream to kind of trap sediments in its headwaters. And then as you continue to move down, it still serves that function of kind of capturing some of those finer sediments, which ultimately ends up providing some complexity. It's not just all boulders, there's some finer stuff in there as well. And I mentioned insects. That organic material is super critical to these environments where it is forested naturally, and so the ecosystem isn't adapted to sunlight productivity. So primary production could either be from outside of the system, like leaves and wood falling into the stream, then being broken down, or if you're farther down in a watershed where the stream opens up, it gets a lot wider, you don't have that input from outside of the system where it relies more heavily on sunlight for the periphyton production, algae, and where that begins to take over at the base of the food chain.
Not far away, in a nearby field, volunteers were planting trees, part of the Forests for Fish project, led by the Bennington County Conservation District. Katie Crumley, District Manager of the Bennington County Conservation District, broke it down for us.
We often plant in riparian areas, so next to a stream or river, to help provide some natural cover or shade for the water that helps keep the water temperature cooler. It also helps recruit natural wood, so Jacob will speak to that a bit. But for fish and aquatic habitat, having those natural stems over time fall into the river or stream is really helpful, provides some habitat and cover for the animals, and kind of helps the, flow dynamics, right, to have a variety of habitats. But we also like to put buffers on agricultural areas, and this is a hayfield here, just to help provide some nutrient and sediment capture before any water goes into the creek. And so in this case, we don't expect a lot of runoff in this particular field, but if this were to be converted to corn down the road, where we'd be spreading manure in the spring, it's really good to have that forested shrubbed buffer to help capture the water and help any nutrients infiltrate into the soil before it reaches the water, because we don't want nitrogen and phosphorus in the water. Those can cause algae to increase, and as the algae decomposes with time, right, it takes oxygen away from the aquatic organisms that we're trying to help. So depending on the size of the farm, they're required to have buffers by state law. It just depends on kind of what their classification is.
For the GNAT-TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.